Hi, this is Zachary and Elizabeth, and thanks for tuning in to Simply Enough.
If you're liking our podcast, we'd love it if you'd share with your friends and family.
And then rate and review to raise our visibility and spread the message of enoughness.
We love you, and remember, you are simply enough.
Just as you are.
Period. Welcome to Simply Enough, where we celebrate you.
Because you are enough. Just as you are.
Period. Jane, Nightbirde, said all the time, life is both beautiful and very sad. Those two can go together at the same time. Life sucks sometimes, but that doesn't mean that there aren't good things that are also happening. And that doesn't mean that good things aren't coming. I'm so much more than the bad things that happen to me. Well, but 2% isn't 0%. 2% is something. And I wish people knew how amazing it is. You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. It's a decision, it's a choice. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Ignacio.
And I'm Mr. Zachary Leonard.
And we are Simply Enough, as are you.
Just as you are, period.
And we're here in Hawaii, actually. We're Zooming, but we're here in Hawaii. Zachary's back in the islands. Hooray.
Yay.
And so we were, brainstorming about ideas and topics for our episodes, which isn't easy, guys, but it's certainly fun. It's certainly fun and uplifting. And that's what this is all meant to be, is a journey for all of us, and how we can uplift each other. And so, a number of the past episodes have been about joy. And I have been asked in the past throughout my life, like, how do I kind of stay upbeat and positive? And am I always that way? And the answer is absolutely no. And quite frankly, sometimes the expectation to always be up and positive and be the cheerleader actually can be quite difficult. And sometimes I do not only myself have to sit in my sadness in order to move through it, but it's nice to be checked on and asked how I'm doing, and to have somebody not try to fix things, but sit in my sadness with me, and that's been really, really helpful. But yes, I will say that overall, I do tend to be on the positive, optimistic side of the spectrum. And I'm asked, how do I do that? And where do I get my grit? And where do I get my, resilience? And part of it is, just how I am, I think. And Dr. Wayne Dyer used to tell this story about, or actually pose a question of, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out?
Juice.
Orange juice, right?
Yeah.
And why, when you squeeze an orange, that's what comes out? Why isn't it lemonade or limeade or milk? Why, when you squeeze an orange, does orange juice come out?
Because that's what it is. It's an orange. That's its juice. That's who it is.
That's what's inside. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what's inside. So that's what it's made of. And so regardless of the pressures and difficulties and situations, ultimately what comes out is what one is made of. So just like when here comes a profanity, just like when an asshole is pressured and squeezed, what comes out, you know what? Well, same thing. What comes out under pressure and under stress and under turmoil, what comes out is what you're made of. And so inherently, yes, I think I inherently am made of grit and resilience and strength and optimism and positivity. But I also made myself that way in terms of what I feed myself and how I look at and see the world. So what lens, what glasses, what lens am I looking through the world, and what am I feeding myself? I do selectively try to choose positivity over negativity, positive stories over negative stories. And that's how I feed myself. And that's, just like you are what you eat, same thing. So I feed myself that positivity, and that's the kind of orange juice that comes out when this orange over here gets squeezed. And so
for the record, it's delicious orange juice. So sweet, so delicious.
Sometimes rancid, I know, but we're all real. And actually, yes, I do want to say that too, is that, we are so much more than one facet, just like we talked about being a decathlete. And so, yes, there are the positives and the negatives that are within us, and the positives and negatives that happen outside of us. But yes, in kind of selectively trying to choose what I feed myself. I'm not big anymore like I used to be. I'm not big on the news. I'm not oblivious. I mean, I do listen or watch or read the news, but it's for a select amount of time. And I purposely like to find uplifting things. And so I happened to be on YouTube and happened across a audition for, it's an old audition from 2019, I believe, for America's Got Talent, which actually isn't even really a show that I frequent and watch, but it was an audition that I happened to watch. And it just changed me. And it really spoke to how one's perspective in life really reveals what's inside. So it's not necessarily sometimes that situations change a person. In many ways, it reveals a person. Just like, money doesn't change a person, money reveals a person. And this audition that I was blessed to witness, I have now since watched probably 30 times in the past 2 weeks, just because it has been that uplifting and transformative to see this young woman's perspective. So is now a good time to share it?
I think we should watch it. Or share it. Yes.
Okay. So we're going to share this. I hope this technology works, everybody. And I know for those of you that are on the audio podcast, we are going to be playing the YouTube. So it is a video, and I hope we're allowed to do this, but it's powerful even just to listen to it. Bravo, Jane. Bravo, Nightbirde.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jane. So, I mean, if I just may, her story is so incredible. So, again, I don't watch a show, but in hitting the golden buzzer, she got automatically, advanced to the, live semifinals or whatever. And she went through a little bit, but then had to withdraw because, her chemo wasn't working. And the reason why I actually came across during my, internet surfing for positive things, the reason why I came across her audition video in the first place is because she did pass away at the age of 31. She passed away at the end of February 2022. But I mean, what she embodied, who she personified, just lives on. And if I may, I just want to reiterate a couple of things that she said in this, the things that really stuck out. First of all, did you notice that she really actually didn't even want to go there and talk about her cancer? It was like, as they were asking her, it was like pulling teeth, because she didn't really want to focus on that. And even when they said, "Oh, you're not okay," she's like, "Well, not in every way." That wasn't her only identity. And so again, just to say what she said, you know, I'm so much more than the bad things that happen to me. You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. It's a decision. It's a choice. I was given a 2% chance of survival, but 2% isn't 0%. 2% is something. And I wish people knew how amazing it is. When she passed, her sister put out a message, and her sister said that Jane, Nightbirde, said all the time, life is both beautiful and very sad. Those two can go together at the same time. Life sucks sometimes, but that doesn't mean that there aren't good things that are also happening. And that doesn't mean that good things aren't coming. I'm planning my future, not my legacy. Some people will call it blind denial, but I call it rebellious hope. And then a month or two before she passed, she actually was interviewed again by the disgraced Andrew Cuomo in CNN. But it was a beautiful interview nonetheless. And he had actually taken a liking to her because he had interviewed her the year before. And he was just so uplifted and inspired by her story that he kept in connection with her. And even though he's, kind of a hardcore political type of person, this orange, when squeezed, even was refreshing and rejuvenating to him. So he wanted to interview her, and it was just a few months before she passed. And if I may again say some of her quotes. So he asked how she was, and she said, well, I was curled up in a ball like a cocktail shrimp in an A+ pity party because it's just been a bad month. And I love that about her. It's not that she's Pollyanna, and it's not that she's pure grit and resilience. She admits it's hard, and she had a hard time, and this is where she was, a week ago. And she allowed herself permission for her so-called A+ pity party, and this is why. She said, a week ago, I got the shocking news about cancer regrowth. So my liver is more cancer than liver. But I believe in dreams for all our lives that originated from the imagination of God. And don't you want to see what happens if you don't give up? And then Andrew Cuomo asked her, Jane, the question, why me? Why me? What's your answer? And she said, you know what? I try not to occupy myself with questions too big for myself to answer. It's a waste of time. Just because something is a mystery doesn't mean it's an absence of meaning. Sometimes the mystery means there's a bigger meaning than we can understand. And so I accept that. I let go of the questions because that's too heavy. And he said, heavy? Man, you breeze through things that could cripple the rest of us. But just because somebody can carry something doesn't mean it's not heavy. And we always have to remember that, even when we look at the happy, optimistic, positive oranges, right? Yeah. So she said, putting pain to purpose in your lyrics is transcendent. I'm not denying the pain of today, but I'm not denying the hope of tomorrow. I show up as real as possible. You do have a choice how you show up. I've decided in my most painful moments to keep my eyes open because there's still so much beauty and poetry in the world. If you're willing to sign off on the pain that it takes to stay awake in the middle of something that hurts so bad, anybody can do it. And then she ended her interview, of all things, with gratitude. She said, I can't let this interview end without saying thank you. Thank you to all of you who have sent support and kept me in your prayers. That's Nightbirde. That's Jane. And honestly, everybody, there's all a little part of her in us. And that's, I think, the message she wanted to share isn't so much that she is this special orange of grit and resilience, that it's actually in all of us. We just need to choose that and show up with that and tap that and let the orange juice come out when we as oranges are pressured and squeezed. because we are so much more than the bad things that happen to us. And on the flip side, honestly, we're so much more even than the good that has happened to us, that we have to pressure ourselves to always succeed and always achieve and always keep a stiff upper lip. We are just as we are.
Mm-hmm. And we're all a little lost sometimes.
And we are all a little lost sometimes.
And that's okay. That's all right.
That's okay.
I'm so grateful that you shared this. And I want to just touch on something about the orange. So not only when you squeeze an orange, to extend this allegory a little further, do you get the juice, but the zest releases oils, and those oils become aroma, right? That then spread. And you're absolutely right that there's an inspiration and an infectiousness now in the orange giving off a zest that can affect the person that can smell it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so not only under pressure do you reveal yourself, but you can inspire or maybe encourage or push or support others in those moments to reveal themselves differently. Holy shit.
Right?
Sorry, I didn't do the curse word disclaimer. Holy shit.
Damn straight. I think Nightbirde's message, Jane's message, needs as much emphasis as possible in whatever way emphasis can be expressed, and unapologetically.
And her message is so simply beautiful, and beautiful in its simplicity. And she's not like, based on credentials, she's not an expert on paper. She's not she's not somebody that we put in this regard as like, we have determined that your message is worth listening to. She's on a journey, and that journey has allowed her to come to very clear understandings of life and hope and challenge, and she's worth listening to. So, and it's just that simple. We are all on a journey, and we all have a message that is worth sharing with others, so that our orange zest can be spread to others and inspire others, and that our juice can reveal who we are under pressure. And it really can be that simple.
And we said from the get-go, not in any way that we're saying that we're at all even a fraction of Jane, of Nightbirde, but we said from the get-go, from episode 1, we're just here to share our stories. It's not that we're here to teach,
right,
but from our stories, we've learned about ourselves, the orange juice in us. And if in any way that is helpful, or people identify, or people just feel less alone, again, we're not therapists, nor we said that from the get-go. This is for those that are in need. I say with love and empathy, the Simply Enough podcast is not a cure. By all means, reach out, for therapy, counseling, psychologists, psychiatrists. But if what you think you need right now is just some journeyman along your side, so that you don't feel alone, so that you can hear stories and perhaps see yourself in similar stories, because I'll say it for myself, there's nothing special about me, but if whatever I have, and what I mean by that is, or maybe I should say, there's something special in all of us. It's not mutually exclusive. It's not a finite pie. There's special in all of us, and therefore the point of our stories isn't this is what makes us special, so you can hope to go through your situation this way. It's no, there's actually nothing special about me, but this is how I've come about to pull out of me whatever there is. And you, Zachary, our listeners, our viewers, have the same resources within.
Yes.
Just tap into it.
Yes.
And it's, I think of metamorphosis, and I think of, along with Wonder Woman, I love butterflies. and when people think of and speak of and use butterflies as symbols, we often look at the butterfly as the transformation, the metamorphosis, and how beautiful, and has wings, it can fly off, and that's all beautiful. But you know what? I'm going to say, let's celebrate the caterpillar. Let's celebrate the quote ugly duckling as much as the swan. Let's celebrate and recognize the immenseness of an acorn and not just the oak, because guess what? The butterfly is in the caterpillar. The beautiful swan is in the ugly duckling. The mighty, massive oak tree is in the acorn. It's already there. It's already inside.
And I'm going to take it even further. Even the chrysalis. I'm personally, and as I shared in the practice of joy, I'm in a transition in my life, right? Where I'm figuring out my career path and I'm hitting roadblocks and hurdles and whatnot. I'm in a chrysalis, so to speak, right? And like she said, we're all a little lost. And it may not feel it. And I can say that I'm certainly guilty of this. It may not feel like there's beauty in that, but there's still the butterfly and there's still the caterpillar, all wrapped up into that chrysalis. And it's okay. Like, it's okay to feel lost.
Yep.
Because you're not all lost. You're found in some ways too.
Exactly.
And that we are complex, complicated contradictions that all overlap, right? We are good, we are bad, we are happy, we are sad, we are angry, and we are at peace. We can be all of those things all at the same time. And there's beauty in that. Sorry. Wow. And I'm going to stop saying sorry. I'm not sorry.
That's another episode we're going to do, everybody, because that's a lesson I have to learn. Thank you to our friends who pointed that out. Yes, that's going to be another episode relative to apologizing and sorry. But yeah. And she said that, and, again, it was just so powerful that she didn't want to only identify with her cancer, and that when they said, oh, you're not okay. Well, not in every way.
Right.
But I'm also not okay either. Right. Like, that was just so beautiful. And her even recognizing, like, situations, there's pain in those situations, but if you're willing to recognize, acknowledge the pain, one also can see the beauty behind it.
Yeah.
Isn't she amazing?
She is. And so are you. And so are our listeners. And
so are you.
Thank you. And we can't ever forget that.
Yeah.
We really can't.
It's all inside, and it's already inside. Yeah. It's just, we from time to time have to unlearn. We have to remember and recognize, because we've forgotten. Think of when we were kids. Kids think nothing of, in a heartbeat, saying, I'm going to be president of the United States, or I'm going to be a, gold medal winner. And you know what? We encourage that and we celebrate that. So we have to get back to knowing what's already inside the caterpillar, the acorn, the duckling. It's already there. Yeah. And that's why, I don't know if it's just been in our conversations or whether it showed up in one of our episodes already, Zachary, but, we talk about how with my coaching clients, I don't like to talk about, now is an opportunity for you to change yourself, because it's not about, I don't see it as changing. Right. I see us all, each individually, as, and I'm not a car person, but still, as a fancy schmancy, race car. And we are all that. And it's not that we have to change. We just have to shift gear. We have to find our higher gear. And sometimes we go to a lower gear, but it's not about changing ourselves and that there's anything wrong. We just need to find or rediscover or remember that we have higher gears, and tap into that.
And also the right gear for you in that moment may be a low gear. And you started this out by saying, it's okay to sit in sadness.
Yeah,
it's okay. And you don't have to grit and push yourself through it as if you're going to muscle your way through sadness. You're going to get back to being happy. You're going there are times for that. And we're not saying that, again, it's not mutually exclusive, but but for me right now, I might need to be in a low gear, that gap versus gain, because I'm still moving, right? I'm still progressing. And it's not, well, I could be going 60 miles an hour and I'm only going 10. Well, you're going 2%, like she says, and that's still amazing, right? So, yeah.
And when either one falls into self-berating, self-reprimanding, self-shaming, self-blaming, or listening in from the outside, the blame, the shame, the expectations that one isn't living up to, that's slashing a tire. You can't go as fast or as far, even if you wanted to, if you are slashing your own tire or letting others slash your tire. Believe in your gears and believe in that inner GPS, that inner guidance of what gear you need to be in at the moment. Right?
I think that's where we end it.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you for being a part of our Simply Enough community. It has been transformative for me. I know it's been transformative for you. And
it's a journey. So it's not like we've arrived and we're never going to arrive. And that's okay. It's, you know, if I may just say this one last thing, you know, we give such patience and grace to kids, for example. So kids, as they're learning to rise and walk, they walk and they succeed and then they fall again. And then they get up and they walk. And we don't say, get up, stupid, or you walked yesterday, how come you're not walking as well today? We recognize that it's a process and it's a path and it's a journey and it's a skill and it's tools to be learned. And we need all of ourselves to give ourselves grace and permission. And when we do that honestly and wholeheartedly for ourselves, it actually allows us to connect better with others, because we then are able to extend the same grace and forgiveness and patience and perspective for others.
Yeah.
We can't give what we don't have, right?
The orange.
The orange. It's what's inside. You are what you eat. You are what you feed yourself. You are how you see and look at the world. There's a little bit of Nightbirde in all of us. There really is. Or maybe a lot of Nightbirde. We just have forgotten. Love you. Love everybody.
You. Love you.
Bye.
Today's episode is dedicated to Jane Nightbirde Marczewski.